stand till on Jersey in the stands. I'ma hit you on the slide.
Do you ever want to like get whatever you want as a kid? Here's the way to do it. So I was in, I want to say the 7th grade, and I just moved to a new school. So I was like in the big city, and my parents, if we really want to get deep into it, my brother went to jail, and my parents wanted to move us out of that element, so they moved us to the burbs. And so one of my first days in class, I was always chewing gum, and my teacher said, you know, and Jake can appreciate this, I think, if you don't have enough for everybody, go spit it out. So the next day, you know, they had, I even remember it was the 2-cent Bazooka Joes back then. It was 2 cents. So I went and bought a bunch of them. They were
about
gross.
this big.
Yeah, they were the chew. You get like 2 chews out of them. They lost all their flavor. You threw them out.
They're disgusting too, Haley. If you ever had one, you'll throw up. I promise you.
They came with these little comics, which is why we bought them. But it was like,
it's gum?
Yeah, it's gum. It's gum. It's gum.
Okay.
So I went and bought all these Bazooka Joes, and I came in and I purposely was chomping. Because my teacher would say, unless you have enough for everybody. And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. And so
into your trap.
They walked right into my trap and said, that's not obviously they didn't mean it literally. And I said, well, you said if I have enough for everybody. And I started going around and passing it to everyone in the class. So of course I got sent down to the office. The principal says to me, listen, we've all popped a boner once in our life. I went, whoa, what did you say? Well, apparently that's a term for making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I didn't let him live that down. So basically, I ended up getting a free McDonald's coupon for $5 every week to keep quiet, and I did. So there you go. That's my Bazooka Joe McDonald's.
Was that black
class?
Are you guilty of black?
Yeah. I was blackmailing from then. Absolutely.
4KT Justin said, wow, gum was 2 cents.
Yes, it was.
That was back in the day.
Yeah, the nickel. Yeah. You could get.
And then it went up to a nickel, and then that's when it was too rich for my blood.
Mm-hmm.
And look at gas now. Gas prices are just
crazy. Listen, do we want to get into that conspiracy? They're only raising gas prices so that they can stop you from buying gas vehicles because they're trying to push you to electric, and that's the only way to do it.
Man,
not conspiracies if you want them. We got tons.
on the next show.
All right,
chat, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in tonight. And for those of you that are going to watch this in video form, thanks for joining us. I missed the last pod, so thank you, JD, for covering for me. You guys did a great job, but a lot of stuff has been going on in the past week. So we'll dive into it. Before we get started, though, did you both have a good week? Everything going good?
Yeah, running good, man.
Happy July 4th for all my neighbors south of the border.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see my TikTok?
About which one did
July
you do?
4th?
Nah, I missed it.
Oh, man, you guys, terrible.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody the story. When I first moved to the US from Canada, everybody, I don't know why, around July 4th, they would always ask me, hey, do you guys have July 4th in Canada? And without fail, I would answer, no, we go straight from the 3rd to the 5th.
Wow.
Bing bong.
I'm a dad. What can I tell you? So I was just whatever. I'm just all right.
Hey, I got a question, Haley. Being you being a Warriors fan, really quick before we get into it.
Yeah.
Haley, are they gonna retire Draymond's jersey?
I think so. I think they will. You don't think so?
I think so. I absolutely believe that they will.
I think so. I mean, I think he's spent his whole career there. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. Maybe it's just me, but you don't think so?
First ballot, Tone, not just the Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I know that you don't want to hear that.
You're saying he is, or he's going to be?
If he retired today, in year 11, if he retired today, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Draymond Green.
I don't even think there's discussion. Yeah.
Draymond Green, not even first ballot Hall of Fame.
If he retired today, we're talking about a defensive player of the year. I think he made the All-NBA team 4 times. He made the All-NBA team 4 times. He's a 4-time NBA champion. Made the All-NBA team 4 times. He's the defensive player of the year. Made the All-League defensive team 6 times. Tony, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Listen, you know that they just let everybody into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to mention. I'm sorry that I left out the some of the most important facts. He was Big Ten Player of the Year. He's the all-time. I think
there you go. That's why.
He's also the all-time leading rebounder in Michigan State history. And Tone, can you please stop minimizing guys' careers? Draymond Green is an all-NBA performer for almost half a decade.
I'm not saying he isn't. He's a Hall of Famer. I agree with you. My issue is when you let everybody into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, here we go.
Everybody, make the first ballot guys special, or the first ballot guys and girls special.
How about all of them?
That's how we can distinguish between the LeBron James. What if LeBron James and Draymond retire in the same year? They're both first ballot Hall of Famers. They're equals.
Oh, okay, so before we go any further, Tone, just so you know,
LeBron James and Draymond Green equal.
They're not equal as players.
Obviously
They shouldn't go into the Hall of Fame at the same time either.
Well, wait a minute. Just because we're not equal as players doesn't mean that I don't belong in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't say he didn't belong in the Hall.
And it just so happens that, because if that's the case, then is Chris Bosh the same player that Kobe Bryant is?
No, he shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's exactly my point. Jordan, James, Magic, Kareem, those guys are first ballot. What distinguishes James, let's say, from Draymond? They're both number 23. What distinguishes them in the Hall of Fame?
What do you mean? Well, James is more accomplished.
And they're both Hall of Famers.
What distinguishes them outside of the Hall of Fame?
This is the logic that you're trying to sell me right now, Tone. You're trying to sell me.
You see, they're both Hall of Famers, correct? Yes.
Okay.
What's the distinction in the Hall of Fame? Nothing.
Well, yes, it is, Tone.
Where I believe first ballot Hall of Famer, second ballot Hall of Famer, third ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh my God.
Then we can distinguish because they're both in the Hall of Fame, but they're not equal.
They're not equal, and they're not going in just because we go in at the same time. And even if we are even if I am a first ballot Hall of Famer, that doesn't mean that I'm equal to this person. No, that doesn't mean that at all, because James is more accomplished. That's not the case, Tone. That is not the case at all. However,
Deion Sanders put it best. There should be a special wing for the elite. In my case, what I'm saying is you should make the elite first ballot and make the non-elite wait.
I'm glad you mentioned that part, Tone. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Haley.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, who belongs in the elite? I mean, obviously Jordan, LeBron, but then what's the line? What top 10 players? Is that all? And that
take it a step further than that.
Yes,
Don't
stop there. Ever been a top 10 player in his career?
He has never been a top 10 player.
Then he's not elite, and he shouldn't be first ballot.
He's not elite, even though
maybe yes, Haley. Maybe you hit it. Maybe it's top 10 at any point in your career. So so the guys who are retiring now, or not playing now, but I understand.
I hear you.
Saying.
I
They're
hear
both Hall
you.
of Fame.
I don't.
I'll explain it further.
I don't.
When you see their accolades, it just says Hall of Fame, which is equal because it says Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. That's it. So if everything else blows up in the world and that's all you know, you'll be like, oh, Draymond Green, LeBron James, Hall of Famers.
But there's so much more to it. The accolades outside of that Hall of Fame title.
And that's where you being a student of the game comes in. Like, for example, Tone, you talk about the elite. Do you know in the 75-year history of the NBA, I believe only 144 players are in the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's it. In the 75-year history of the NBA, I think it's 144. Over 5,000 players have come through the NBA. 144. I believe that's what I want to make sure that my math is correct.
I'll look it up.
I know that's less. I know that's less than 1%.
Seems really low.
144 guys in the history of the league. That's it, Tone.
Now it looks like 177.
177 guys. What did I say? 144?
You're telling me there's only 177 people in the Basketball Hall of Fame? And Bill Bradley's one of them?
Yep. That's it, Tone.
If that's true.
That's it, Tone. Now that's not including. She said 177. 100, not 100. Is it 177 people or 177 players? Because I think it's only 144 players. That's it.
Well, it says depending on Nathaniel Clifton's classification of being inducted, 177 or 178 players.
So there's coaches
Very
and
confusing.
managers and yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because the Hall of Fame Museum
Right.
is home to more than 400 inductees.
400 inductees, not players. Inductees. That includes women's basketball players. That includes coaches. That includes what do they call those people? Contributors. That includes all of those people. So of the players,
So there's
of
200
the
players.
players,
Out of how many in the history of the game?
over 5,000 players have come through the NBA in the 75-year history of the NBA. Over 5,000, Tone.
So
And you're telling me that a guy, let me make sure.
1% of 5,000.
What's 1%? Okay, it's 10% of 5,000 is 500. So 1% is what, 50?
That's how many people should be in the Hall of Fame.
1%.
But it's not even far off from that. I
Right.
don't know. I think that's very minuscule compared to what you
Okay.
expect.
Hey,
And
hey,
that's-
watch
It's
this.
elite.
You're correct. See, this is the point that I try to tell people. If you make a good point and prove it, I'm big enough to admit it. Okay, if it's 100 and something, then I'm cool.
And that's my and I'm having a difficult time believing.
Let me ask you this. So is Draymond Green one of the top 200 players of all time?
I think you can make that case, Tom.
Yeah.
Not the top 200 players in NBA history, because that's all you're going off of, Tom. And that's what you're trying to.
No, you're right. You're right.
That's what you're trying to suck us into, and you're not going to suck us into that. No.
Elementary, you got
Right.
When they were
It's
playing
the Basketball Hall of Fame, because what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about a guy. When you talk about the top 1%, I'm thinking about the all-time leading rebounder in Michigan State history. Michigan State is a blue blood program. He's the all-time leading rebounder in Michigan State history. That's first of all. He's the Big Ten Player of the Year. That's second of all. And add that to the fact, if his career ended today, he's an all-NBA performer. It is very difficult to be an all-NBA performer. He did it multiple times. It is very difficult to be an all-star. He has done it multiple times. It is very difficult to be the Defensive Player of the Year. The Defensive Player of the Year came out in 1982, Tone. 1980, that was 40 years ago. That means in the history of the game, we only had 40 guys. He's one of them. In addition to all the other stuff. So I would like to think with all of that stuff that I just mentioned.
It's less than that many, because some have won it multiple times. But
I'm sorry, exactly. Exactly. So I would like to think that in addition to what all the other stuff that I just mentioned, Draymond Green is in the top 1% of players who have played basketball in the history of basketball. I'd like to think that.
the top 1%?
We're talking about the Basketball Hall of Fame. I'd like to think that.
5,000.
Not in the NBA. I'm talking about basketball all the way around. I'd like to think that. Absolutely. And his resume shows it. All NBA, all American, all of that good stuff.
I don't like it. I don't like that. Listen, okay,
First ballot.
if it's that few, fine. And again, I'm okay with him being in the Hall of Fame. I don't like him being on the same first ballot Hall of Fame. For me, that means something. It means something, and I feel like we don't treat it like that.
Well,
I definitely go to.
What's the difference between him being I'm not going to say what's the difference, but would it make you feel better if he was first team All NBA and James was first team All NBA? Would that make you feel better?
No. Listen. If you compare James to Drake, I get it. The accolades, okay, the accolades we're going to look at, and we're going to look at, people who watch basketball, who pay attention, are going to be able to distinguish. Here's the reality, though: 70% aren't. 70% are casual. 70% are even ones that go to the Hall of Fame. And so when we look back on history, when my grandkids look back, they're gonna be like, "Oh wow, look at Draymond Green, number 23, retired by the Warriors, a dynasty in the 2000s. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer with his number retired. Oh, look at LeBron James. He had a dynasty. He's a number 23, was retired, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Wow, they both must have been really good."
Yes, they were.
They're not on the same planet.
They're both they both must have been really good. And that's where the homework comes in, Tone. You find out, whoa, this guy was really good. He wasn't as good as this guy, but guess what? Of the other 98 guys, he was better than them. Of the other...
But you're not going to question, like, how is how are these two guys? It's just I can't. Okay. Hold on,
Well,
Adam Jones. LeBron never had a dynasty. What are you talking about? He was the dynasty. He went to 8 straight finals. I think 9 in 10 years, bro. He's the dynasty.
That's not his opinion.
Don't make me defend LeBron James.
That's not his opinion. That's a fact, sir. Absolutely a fact.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, I just think like Draymond is, again, like you said, both of you mentioned, you have to do your homework. Like Draymond has so many intangibles that you can't even like measure. There's no metric for it. But what he does for the team, the dynasty he's been a part of, is incredible. Two, well, you have to be careful because Draymond might come after you on his podcast. So
good.
Gotta watch yourself. Watch your back.
Everybody hides in the comments. I want someone to come at me in Rio.
Okay.
Because
I like
you know what I'd say to him?
That's right. That is right. And speaking of the Lakers,
sorry, you want me to do it again? I gotta redo it. All right, here we go. I was doing it right up until game time here at like 8:59. So.
But yeah, so you guys probably all have heard of the Jeanie bus tweet that she, I think, put out last night.
You want to read it?
I'll read it.
People that didn't? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, I miss KB. He would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. He understood team over self, meaning your rewards would come if you valued team goals over your own, then everything would fall into place. All can reply. And she posted this at 11:11 last night. So my question is, it is the night on July 4th. Maybe she, I don't know. I don't know if she was just in her feels, had, some couple drinks or something, but it was definitely strange. And at first when she said KB, I was like, who is KB? I had no idea. I was like, who is she talking about? But then of course
that's what we call, that's what us in the know call our guy, right?
But that he's never referred to as KB. I've never heard
him.
Listen,
when we were walking the streets of Newport, we would refer to him as KB.
Okay. Well, now the more now I'm more fluent.
Is Tone trying to big time us right now? Because that's what it sounds like he's trying to. It sounds like he's trying to big time us right now.
It feels like a little bit.
That's what it sounds like.
I try a little bit every once in a while, but I don't like to talk about that stuff.
But the Laker fan in the house, I mean, who do you feel she was kind of directing this at? And do you want to break it down for us, Flint?
Look, okay. Jeannie's been really close to the Lakers since like the late 70s, early 80s, right? Like she grew up in, at the time, the Staples Center, or I guess it was called the Great Western Forum. And so, she was close to Magic. She obviously still close to Magic. She was close to Kobe. And I think that tweet was a little bit of, look, it was probably, if we could steal something from Jamie Foxx, I wish I had the button, or T-Pain, or whatever that was, like she'd probably blame it on the alcohol a little bit. But at the same time, for those that were close to Kobe, they think about him all the time. Like the couple of people I know who know him were like, they still like anytime, like, they see this, like I'll probably get, if they watch the show, I'll probably get a message later like, dude, like don't have the jersey, like move the jersey. They told me to move the jersey because even now this still bothers me. So she was probably in her feelings, like you said, had a couple of drinks and was thinking about the Lakers because that's her life. And she looked at that team and said, that was the most selfish, the most lackluster Laker team I've seen in a lot. Like there was no effort on defense as a team, as a collective. So I don't think, I know people want to put it, she was talking to LeBron. I don't think she was talking to LeBron, but I think she was talking to the Lakers as a like fan, player, everybody. Just like, I'm in my feelings. I'm a little bit drunk. Last year wasn't embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Like anyone who says last year wasn't an embarrassment to the Lakers is lying to themselves, right? As a Laker fan for, I don't even know if I want to admit it, 40 years now, that was embarrassing to bring in that collection of players, right, as individual stars and not make a 10-team play-in. That's not gonna, that's not gonna work. And let's be honest, with the one kind of bright spot of that bubble season, ever since Dr. Buss has been gone, Lakers haven't really been the model franchise that they should be. So I think it's all starting to get to her. And don't forget, like I'm sure there's a power struggle there. There's a lot going on that we don't know. So I think that tweet was a lot to do with drunk, a lot to do with, like you said, inner feeling, and a lot to do with like hopefully sending a message to everybody like, hey, this can't continue. And it can't. I agree with her. I agree with her.
Well,
yeah.
When I asked the question, Tone, if you think about the teams in the NBA, what are the best franchises in NBA history? If you could just think off the top of your head, the best franchises in NBA history, which franchises come to mind?
Well, for me, it's the Lakers.
Okay, that would
Boston.
be the best. Okay, the Celtics. I'd like to think that I think
of recent history, then like there's the Warriors, there was the Bulls, like they've all had runs, but I think obviously the Lakers and Celtics have been the most. Maybe the Sixers, probably, although they did have that tanking stuff that drives me crazy, the process. But it's really those who have been the most kind of consistent throughout the years, where even though they have some valleys, they're more peak than valley.
So at the top of that list would be the Lakers, and for decades, the Lakers have set a standard for greatness. And the way they've set that standard for greatness is with the players, how that organization is run and how these guys come out and play. Like I've mentioned this to you in the past, Tone. The Lakers have the most players in NBA history in the Hall of Fame. There's no other organization that has more players in the Hall of Fame in NBA history than the Lakers. And I think that Jeanie, she sounds to me like someone who genuinely misses him. And she just doesn't miss him from a basketball standpoint. She misses a professional, and she misses her friend. Because this is a guy who held not just her, he had not just himself, he held her accountable. You know, a lot of people talk about Kobe demanding to be traded in 2007. Well, there's a reason for that. The reason he demanded to be traded in 2007 is because you guys are not going to waste my prime. I'm not going to have myself looking like I don't know what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, my legacy is going to be about winning, and you guys are not going to waste my prime. So I'm doing my job. Kobe Bryant is first team All NBA in 2006, first team All Defense in 2006, and first team All NBA in 2007. I'm doing my job. You guys aren't doing your job. And because you aren't doing your job, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, because this isn't the Lakers that I know. And if this is how you guys are going to run things, then I don't want to be around for this. Well, that got nipped in the bud really quickly. My man, you're exactly right. Let us get back on our job, and let's get back to who we are. And I don't think she was directing that toward anybody in particular, not just on that unit. I think that she just misses a pro and her friend who stood for something and who held not just himself, but he held everybody else accountable. And that's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, I definitely think there was just so many emotions going on in her head and her heart. And like you said, Fluent, like there's so much behind the scenes that we can't even begin to comprehend that's going on, especially after the season that they had last year. And it was really sad to see, but well, I think they'll come back strong.
And she also, like I said, she sounds like she just misses a pro and misses her friend. Because to be honest with you, Tone, there's plenty of times when I'm sitting around and I'll see some footage of him and I'm thinking to myself, damn, this dude ain't around no more. I get reminded of it. Like, not that I forgot, but it gets hit to me again. Like, damn, this dude ain't around no more. And it sucks that he's not around no more. And I think that she misses that. I think we all miss that. And that thing that he brought with him to the Lakers.
I'm not even gonna lie. I act like he's not. I still watch footage. I still watch his interviews. I still take, like he does, where he would do like motivational talks and like interviews. Like I'll watch him on like, what is it? Who's that? Not Jimmy Fallon, the other guy. Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel. Like it's live. I won't. I'm like those Elvis lovers that refuse to admit he's dead. Yeah. I'm not. I just won't. And I told you the story that morning. I refuse to believe it. The people are texting me like, "You okay?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. It's fake." there are times when it probably hits her, and she's a lot closer, obviously. And there are
Right.
times when it hits her, and it's if you've never lost someone close, it's hard to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a piece of you that's always gone. So yeah, I don't blame her at all, and I think she's upset. And I don't know what else to say, but good for her. And you know what? I wish you would come up publicly and say it's an embarrassment. We need to do better.
And I think also, Tone, with your Lakers, I don't think that we're going to see next season what we saw last season. I'm having a difficult time believing that Anthony Davis is going to miss half the season again, that Russell Westbrook is going to be this bad again, that James is going to have to do all of those things that he did again. I think that we're going to have something different this season. And I think that simply because it's the Lakers and these guys are being held accountable, not just because of what Jeanie Buss said, but because that's who these guys are. And that's what the staple is when you play for the Lakers. This is who we are. This is what we're about. And if you're going to be here, this is what you have to stand for. And, with Jeanie coming out and saying what she said, she just sounded like somebody that was, just missing somebody and remembering what it was like when they were around.
Yeah. I think they're held to a very high standard. And also LeBron, not being in the playoffs, not even making the playoffs last season, I think is going to be a wake-up call. I think they're going to come back a lot stronger next season.
Well, but look, if you want to read into it, I know you got to move on to the next thing, but I'll be fast. If you want to read into it, you could say it was a shot at LeBron, kind of saying, hey, we got you the pieces you asked for. And that's how it turned out. And now you're saying, oh, well, I'm not going to sign my extension until I see what you guys do. Hold on, you put us in this mess. Like, if she's being petty, I don't think that's her, but that could be like the conspiracy people could say that. Could be saying that's a shot at LeBron because he got what he wanted, and now he's saying, "Oh, you guys, he's laying the blame at them," and they're saying, "Well, hold on, this is the roster you asked for." So there could be some of that, but I don't know enough of that to say that's the case either. But could be
just some underlying feelings. I mean, I'm sure she was just feeling a lot of things, and it's hard to know her heart. But hopefully she woke up and got some Pedialyte today and is feeling better and can deal with all that. But we're going to go into, so we're going to do rapid fire starting five. So you don't get to think about it. Joe, we'll start with you and we'll just go boom, 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 each position. And chat, you hold us accountable. You see who we pick and then you let us know who you think has the best starting five. And this is going to be current players. So people that are still in the league.
As they played in 2021 or 2022?
Oh, no, as in just like last decade.
Like right now.
Yeah. In the league. Okay. So we will start with point guards. Chill, go.
Luka.
Fluent.
Steph.
Dame.
Even though he's a shooting guard.
Okay. You should be the last one to take it.
I couldn't think of anyone else, so I'm taking him.
Okay, Luka, Steph, Dame. All right. Fluent, you go. Shooting guard,
go. Paul George.
Book.
Zach LaVine.
Yes, PG3 is a shooting guard. Don't give me that look. Who'd you pick?
I picked Zach LaVine.
Okay.
Small forward. I'll go first. I'll take Braun. Chill.
Giannis. Eat it, Tone. That's right. Eat it. And love it, Tone.
Okay. And then we'll do.
Whoa. I think Giannis plays the 4. Giannis doesn't play the 3.
Yeah, he's power forward.
No, Giannis does not play the 3. He plays the 4. So I gotta dial that back. So Tone, you took KD. Who am I going with at the 3? You took KD. Who am I taking? Brandon Ingram.
Ooh, I like that. I like
Tatum,
that.
Huh? Now your guy Tatum? Okay.
Love Tatum.
Okay.
I like the BI. Okay, and then we'll do forwards now. You go.
Giannis. Yes.
I guess I'll take AD. Is AD?
Yeah.
Forward?
He should be.
Yeah.
There should be a center actually, but
That's what I was gonna say, but I think he's technically a power forward. Okay, Chill.
Siakam.
Okay. And then centers. I'll take Embiid. Joe?
Who's next?
Oh, it's my go?
Yeah.
Joker.
Okay.
I'll go Bam.
Bam Bam. Okay.
I like it.
Bam Bam.
Okay. So
did you mark these down? I know my team.
I should have written them down. I think I know my team.
I know my team too.
For those that don't know, go ahead, Chill. What's your team?
I got Luka at the 1, Book at the 2, Brandon Ingram at the 3, Siakam at the 4, Joker at the 5.
Right.
And I want to take Brandon Ingram out, who I love, by the way.
It's just too late. The votes up. All right. So I got Curry at the 1, PG3 at the 2, KD at the 3, Giannis at the 4, Bam at the 5. Woo-wee.
Okay, and then I think I have Dame, Zach, Levine, Braun, and then my power forward was who was my power forward? AD.
Yep, AD.
And then I have Embiid.
Yep.
And thank you, JD. He put up a little.
Yes, we got the poll up. So for those that don't see it, like 10% of you have voted. So please go in and vote Fluent for the best lineup. Fluent got a juggernaut. You damn did. Listen, I'm really good at these drafts. I wanted to
are good.
You know when they had they had all the celebrities do the top 75 and they all drafted a team. Do you remember? Did you guys even see that on TNT? They brought
yeah, I do remember that.
Brought like panels together and they all picked from the top 75. They all picked a team.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I was like, oh, I wish I was there. My team would have been so good. I'm so good at drafting. I should have been hey, James Dolan, I know you're watching. I can help the Knicks. I promise. Championship in 3. In 3 years, I'll pay you back. Whatever you pay me, look at this. If anyone could get this to James Dolan or snip this and put it on TikTok, JD. James Dolan, 3 years, I will get the Knicks into the finals, okay? Or I'll pay you back all the money you pay me. It's a great deal. It's a great deal.
I want to take Brandon Ingram off my crew, and I want Jason Tatum.
How did you win?
Guilty about that.
Hold on, you won.
You won. Good
See,
job.
this is a popularity.
And that
contest.
was pre-change. It was.
It's
that
a popularity contest.
My crew is kind of nice, Tone. I don't know what you're talking about. If you look at my crew, Luka at the 1, Book at the 2, Brandon Ingram at the 3, Siakam at the 4.
Yeah.
And Luka at and
Joker at
the 5.
Yeah. Whoever plays against them is going to score 200 points.
And guess what they're going to do?
You have 0 defense. They're going to score 199.
There it is. I was going primarily off buckets this game. I wasn't, because you took a lot of the guys. You took a lot of the guys that I wanted. Like I wanted.
Let me just be clear on what I did with my team. I took Curry and KD, who everybody in this chat says that's the greatest team of all time. And instead of Clay, I got PG, who's better than Clay. Instead of Dre, I got Giannis, who's better than Dre. And instead of, I don't even know who their center is. Was it Looney? Was it Jaja Pachulia? I had Bam. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's just a Warriors remastered.
All right, I'm moving on. This is fixed.
Okay, I'm good. Question for you guys, because you were talking about working for the Knicks. If you could work as any role in the NBA, what would you do, including media, teams? You could be a player if you wanted.
Role? Commissioner.
If you could have been anything.
Commissioner.
Okay. Whoa.
You want to run the league, Tone?
Run the league. Hell yeah.
You want to run the league,
and I want to get paid like Roger Goodell of the NFL, $40 million a year.
Well, if you're gonna run the league, Tone, then it sounds to me like you've already been thinking about this. So what's the first thing that you're gonna do as running the league?
Yeah, we need change.
Yeah, what's your plan?
4-point line?
No. Oh God, no. I will say this. I'll probably make the 3-point line a consistent distance. I will say this. People are going to hate me for this one. I actually make the court a little bit bigger because the guys are so big and so fast and move around so much that, you know, just think about how many stupid out of bounds when you're shooting those corner threes. So I'd make the court a little bit bigger. I'd make it a consistent distance, the 3-point line around there. I would suspend you for 10 games if you flop. I would get rid of I'd get rid of the 3-second rule. If you're gonna play zone, if we agree that zone's in, then play zone. Stand wherever you want. So those would probably be the first things.
So illegal defense. So illegal defense is out.
Illegal defense is out. Yeah.
Okay. So illegal defense is out. Okay. So we're gonna get back to just one-on-one.
Kool-Aid instead of Gatorade. Actually, maybe that's a good. I like that one. Yeah, send me your ideas. Hold on. What do you mean one-on-one is back?
Well, if there's no illegal defense.
No. There's no illegal defense now.
Yeah, there's no illegal. There is illegal. That's what 3 seconds is.
No, but that's just 3 seconds defensive 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's what illegal defense.
Illegal defense is you couldn't kind of stand and guard a zone,
which
you
is
had
what
to
illegal
be
defense
within
is.
a certain distance of a player. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You standing right here, then you can't stand here. You got to stand over a little bit more. So if we're gonna do that, then I mean, you guys can't play zone all game. Eventually, you got to get out of that zone and you got to play one-on-one. And if you're going to do that, no illegal defense. My goodness. Now we get this. Now I get to put you on an island where we get to clean out the entire left side of the floor. We get to clean out
you can play zone if they do that. I love. I don't like the 3-second rule. I don't like a lot of. I really don't like flopping. I hate that. And I would have. I say this more for football, but basketball too. You have the technology to have someone up in a booth watching. There's no need to be doing incessant replays. Like there should be someone up there doing it and just calling down to the ref and saying, "Hey, yeah, that was," or "No, that wasn't." And so I'd speed that. I'd speed that up a bit. I think that takes way too much time where they got to pull up the monitor and turn it around and blah, 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 and then they still get it wrong. That stuff drives me nuts.
That's where the marketing comes in though, because that's where they put all their little ads and all that Gatorade.
Oh, I'd get rid of the. Oh yeah, I would take the biggest thing of TNT I have, spark it up, and put it on the TV timeout. I would get rid of that too. I listen. When I lived in Europe, where they have a timeout, just a TV timeout because for advertising. When I lived in Europe, they
never not have those there.
No, not for football, soccer. They would have the game, and what would happen is an ad would come up like a little bubble, right? And that's fine. There's your commercial. I can still watch the game. So
first of all, I can't see the bubble in the corner of the TV tone.
I don't care.
I don't want to see that.
This is America. We have ads for days.
Yes, add that to the fact that why you think the NBA salary cap is going up? The reason why the salary cap is going up is because advertising.
Oh, don't worry.
So you can't put my logo in the corner of a TV. Matter of fact, you fired. Get off my. You
don't think I'll make you more money? Wait. You don't think I'll make you? Hold on. You don't think I'll? You don't think I'll make you more money? Because I will institute certain apps where they can gamble and all that money comes to the NBA. You can literally bet 10 cents, hit or miss the next shot. And I will have addicts all over the place gambling on every situation. Is it going to be a turnover? Is it going to be a pass, a shot? Oh yeah, we're going to make billions. Ooh, jersey sales. Great. Jerseys are going to have patches all over them, the shorts.
Not that we're not doing that already, but we're going to do that even more.
The salary
bigger and better.
The salary cap is triple. Trust me, you'll love me. And I'll put more money in your pocket. Trust me.
Well, JD said, I like the idea of that every team gets to set their own 3-point line distance. How do you feel about that, Commissioner? Is that something you'll allow?
Is it different? Like you say, when we're on offense, it's like 12 feet.
Yep.
When they're on offense,
switches at halftime.
That was the first thing I was thinking. Let's move it as close as we can to the basket. What are we doing? We're not gonna put it 25 feet. We're not gonna do that. Set our own distance.
You already got people. You already have people looking for the app to bet in the chat.
Yeah, they liked it.
See, and just so you know, Tyler, I can't pronounce his last name, Majokajawashki, is the CFO of the CFL. Mm-hmm. And I gave him a bunch of ideas, one of them being the app where you can bet like run, pass, whatever. And he didn't do it. And the next year, the CFL had to stop playing because 90% of the revenue is like ticket sales, like actual people going to the game. And I'd be like, and I sent him a message. She hasn't replied to me since. We used to chat occasionally. Now I'm out. I said, see, if you would have listened to my idea, you wouldn't have to shut down because you had no money.
Hey, it's painful truth. Chill, what would you do if you could do anything, any role in the NBA? What would you?
I'm a big fan of seeing guys turn into what we've always thought that they would turn into. So the one thing that I don't want to coach. No, I'm not interested in that. But I'd love to be a part of player development, because these pros, when I come into the game, I have pro potential. It's your job to teach me the pro game. And a lot of these guys, the reason why they don't become that is because they don't have anybody developing them and helping them become pros. Chauncey Billups is one of the guys who talked about how instrumental Sam Mitchell was in his career. He taught him how to be a pro and showed him the game. Drex talked about how guys before him showed him that. And I definitely be a part of player development if it was one thing. I think that's dope.
Yeah, I love it. I know there's so many different stages that we never get to see, but that are so influential to at all of these men and women, and it's incredible. I think it'd be cool to do like a walkthrough, like the life of a NBA.
I love how Jay's this nice, like, I want to influence kids, and in the chat they're like, influence a horrible influence on them, try to get them to gamble.
We got to have the brains and the heart, and you put them together, and it makes the perfect duo, and that's you two.
You know what? I will say one person, Adam Jones, had letting players vote on the awards. I would change who votes on the awards. That 100%, and I would be very clear. The MVP is given to the person who does this. The defensive player of the year is, like, I'd be very clear on the awards. It wouldn't be.
Well, we have to get a criteria.
The MVP is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And once we get a criteria, like you just said, Tom, once we get a criteria, now we got an idea of what exactly it is. Yeah. Now, the league MVP has been consistent, over the last 50 years, but it changes from time to time.
All exceptions,
Yeah, it changes from time to time, but we definitely need a criteria. We definitely need that. All right, what is league MVP? And we've had some consistency with it, but for the most part, like what we saw this year with Joker, it gets a little tricky. Yeah. That happens once every 15 years. What happened with Joker? For the most part, we have had some consistency.
No, JD. LeBron would not have won 18 MVPs in a row because my criteria would actually stipulate he couldn't.
That would be in that exact line would be in the stipulations. LeBron can only win.
That's it. LeBron already won it 4 times in a row. That's it. After 4 times, he is out.
You know what? Let's be honest. If I was the commissioner, I'd have veto power anyways.
You voted LeBron James MVP?
I know what you voted. I know what you voted, but no. Yeah, sorry.
Nope, not him. He just won it last year, so no, he can't win it this year. Sorry,
Katie. You're not even third team All NBA. I'm sorry, you're out.
Nope. I think that's crazy too, because I always wonder these voters that are in the panel of MVP, who are these people? I know some of them, obviously, but I feel like some of them are not.
Well,
I don't even think they watch the game.
Do we really want to give the players back the power? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because I'm 100% confident that there are some players who can't stand the sight of Steph Curry. And Steph Curry might have an awesome season, but it might be some players who got it lit to their you-know-what, and they I ain't voting for Steph Curry for league MVP. Absolutely not.
If the players voted honestly, each player in the league would get 1 vote because they'd all vote for themselves. That being said, I wouldn't give it just to the players. I would allow players, media, coaches, a select panel, and I would weight them, but I would let everybody have kind of their vote and put it together again based on the criteria. Right, based on the criteria that was really clear. But yeah, I think players have a different perspective.
Of course they do.
Of what's because they're going up against those guys every day. I think coaches have a different perspective.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Coaches have a different perspective. Media has a different perspective. And then, like I said, whether it's some analyst or whatever, I'd like to tie in some metrics to make it even better. But yeah, I like I said, I feel like the voice of many is better than the voice of few.
And with that also being said, too, Tone, on the flip side to that, you also have some bias. My man Tone over here, he's led the league in scoring, and his team is second, and that's my man. And my team isn't very good, so this is what I'm going to do. Of course, I'm going to vote for my man to win it, even though there might be a guy that's playing better than Tone. There might be a guy that's done more, but this is my guy. So
Yeah, exactly.
Right. There's absolutely a bias. A prime example would be, Dave Cowens won the league MVP. Not only did he win the league MVP, he didn't make first team All NBA. How is that happening?
Bill, well, was it different people voting though back then?
No, it was the players. The players were able to vote up until 1980. That wasn't that long ago.
That was not that long.
That wasn't that long.
It was a popularity contest, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's why you have other people. Because let's be honest, the media does that too. Jay always takes my interview. Haley never does. I'm voting for Jay. Right? Like media does that too. Bill Walton won an MVP. I don't think he should have won an MVP.
Right. And Havlicek was first team All NBA that year. That Dave Cowens won the league MVP, and Dave Cowens was second team All NBA. How are we doing that? How do you justify that? We have to do. I don't know if we could just solely give it to the players, because it might get a little tricky.
Yeah, I would never. Oh no, never.
If we did that, no, we
that'd be a
can't
landslide.
Because I'm 100% confident that there's certain people in the league who can't stand the sight of LeBron James and will not
vote.
I think Bobin would win probably.
Who vote?
Would you let the Raps vote?
Man, please. No, absolutely not. No. No way.
That's not
ridiculous. That's not ridiculous.
No.
That is absolutely ridiculous. As much as as a player as I don't know, LeBron James or Draymond Green has cussed out. I'm thinking about a referee off the top of my head. I'm thinking about
would that Scott Frazier guy give his vote to see
Scott Foster, right? As much as Scott, can you imagine Chris Paul having an MVP season and having and the deciding vote would be Scott Foster, right? Who, by the way, almost every game that I've played in that you officiated in, we lost.
Every game.
But in the process of all of that
record.
Right, and in the process of all of that happening, what's going to happen is I'm trying to win the league MVP, and you are the deciding vote. Of course, I'm not going to win it. Absolutely not. He's not voting for me. No, get the refs out. No.
Yeah. Well, we're on to a good start. I think we could run a good league. Just give us some time and we'll figure it out.
Oh, did I hire you guys? I'd hire you guys. I would totally hire you guys. You're hired.
You better hire me, Tom.
You know you're both hired. You're both hired. Yeah, come on.
Otherwise, I'm gonna get a mob, and we're gonna be standing outside definitely in Toronto with picket signs. That's what we're doing, Tom.
First of all, what's a mob to a king? Second, you know this about me, Jay. All jokes aside, there's a lot of people who say nasty things about me in the chat, but the one thing no one will ever say is I don't take care of my people. So you know that.
100%. No doubt.
JD said, I'm voting for Dirk every year, which is no surprise.
That's why JD doesn't get a vote. Even this year, he's voting for
no, absolutely not.
4KT Justin said, Chill's the big guy I'd hire for security. I guess he trusts you.
You did work it.
You have. Oh.
As you said, what Tom was getting ready to say something. I'm sorry if I cut you.
I was just gonna say when we were in Tampa and people saw like the pictures of us on the yacht, they're like, almost everyone was like, "Hey, good to see you guys together." Chill's jacked. I'm like, I know, dude. I'm like, I was standing like this, trying to like make myself look bigger.
I did
some reps in before.
I did.
I even went and got some weights. I even went and got some weights. So
in a former life, a lot of gray hairs ago, I was a CO. Yes, I was. I used to work in.
Really?
I used to work in the penitentiary as a CO. So I do have some security on my resume. So if once we start to run the league, I am fluent.
Yeah.
I am fluent in security. Yes, I am.
Okay. I like it. We're off to a good start. We'll kill it.
What are you gonna do?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll just be a sideline reporter. I can handle the media aspect of things.
Sideline. Okay. It would be my CEO of media. Jay will be my CEO of security. We got it.
Yeah, I can get with that. Sure.
Okay, you guys. Well, I was thinking we could definitely touch on the elephant in the room, which I would say is KD. I know you guys talked about him a little bit in the last pod, but and there hasn't been much change, more just discussion. But if I guess we'll start because I didn't hear the whole podcast. So just let me know. I know I watched most of it and it was really good. But I do think that you should say maybe, where do you think KD will play for Brooklyn? And if not, where do you think might be the best fit for him? Because I know there's a lot out there. It's Phoenix and Miami are the ones he's thrown out there. But because of Ben Simmons that Brooklyn has, then there's, you have to get multiple teams involved here. So where do you see KD next year, whether it's Brooklyn or somewhere else?
Well, the first problem that we have is that this wasn't like when Kobe Bryant demanded to be traded, where he did it through the media and they were able to get in front of this and go, okay, hold on for a second. KD went to the guy who signs the checks, and him going to the guy who signs the checks, now it's gone beyond the general manager. So now I can't do my job. I got to do what the boss says. And if the boss says this guy has to go, he has to go. So I don't think when I see this whole situation, I see a guy in KD. A lot of people call him soft. A lot of people say that, they're out on KD. I see a guy who is looking at a situation where I didn't sign up for this. Well, why do I say that? When he left Golden State with the mindset that me and Kyrie Irving are going to get together and we're going to do this thing. He goes to Brooklyn that first year as a redshirt year, as we know. The next year, him and Kyrie Irving get together. Kyrie Irving gets hurt because it looks like Brooklyn is on their way to the championship before Kyrie Irving gets hurt. Now this year, they get swept out of the playoffs. I'm telling you now how I feel about getting swept out of the playoffs. When you get swept out of the playoffs, I don't care what round it is, you're not close. So with that being said, here we are. Now, I think Marks is over Kyrie Irving. I think he's finished with him. Yeah. And I think that he wants him gone. Well, KD's idea is, well, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. And now it's not even a war of words more than it is. There's a line drawn in the sand. Either you with him or you with us. And KD's attitude is, well, wait a minute. Kyrie Irving and I got together so we can work this thing out. And it hasn't gone well over the last 3 years. And you guys want to break it up. I'm only here because of him. So if you guys are going to ship him out, then I'm out too. Now, is that okay? I'm not going to say that it's okay, but I understand it because this is what I signed. This isn't what I signed up for, what you guys are doing. Now, with the way the league is and how the collective bargaining agreement is, now I understand that there's certain players that you can't have simply because the way the CBA is. But I already told you, Tone, I'm calling up New Orleans. Send me Brandon Ingram, send me Herb Jones, send me 3 1s. I'll send you KD. We got a deal.
So here's the thing. One, since last week, there has been some new developments. Mm-hmm. One of them being Toronto, who was a dark horse, has moved into like the Vegas odds into like second or third.
Which you love, by the way. You love that.
Mm-hmm. Do I want KD in Toronto? So Toronto jumped up, and the Warriors have popped up a couple of times because the Warriors can give the money in Wiggins, the talent and youth in like Wiseman and Poole, and reunite those guys. Mm-hmm. However, as I've been going through and doing some work, and to Jay's point about him going straight to the ownership, not to the GM, I've stumbled across a theory that I really feel is going to come to fruition. Mm-hmm. One reason why I think it's going to come to fruition is this, and someone mentioned it, my favorite commenter's name, Dang Jangalang, is you saw what Rudy got. You know what you have to give up for KD if Rudy got that?
Yeah, right? Like, that was wild.
When they talk about Toronto, just think KD, if it's true what he said, KD said, yeah, I'll go to Toronto, but you can't give up Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, or Pascal Siakam. Well, heck, that's the only 3 players that you'd want. Mm-hmm. So who are you taking? OG? I like OG Anunoby, by the way. OG Anunoby and some parts? Like that's not going to be
Precious and 3-1.
Precious. It's not enough. No. It's not enough. Let's be honest. So the reality is he's not going there. Do you really think he would go back to the Warriors if he's worried about legacy? No.
I don't think he's worried about legacy anymore. I think at this point he just wants. I don't think so.
Right. So even anywhere he goes, he's going to get smoked. If he goes to Phoenix, a number 1 seed, if he goes to the Warriors, the defending champs, like anywhere he goes, with the exception of Toronto, and if he doesn't win, or even if he wins. So I think his play was this, back to the theory that I heard. He went to ownership and said, if you want me to stay, give Kyrie his extension. To give you some motivation, I'm going to ask for a trade. So what I think was more realistic, because I don't think they're going to get what they want, is that Steve Nash and Sean Marks will be fired. The owner will either do this without a GM or bring in the GM and tell him this is your first thing that you're doing, which is sign Kyrie to the extension. And they both stay. And they run it back with the team that they have, with Ben Simmons, supposedly healthy, Kyrie, and KD. And I'll tell you this, Sean Marks, I don't know who made the deal. I don't know if KD pressured him, or I don't know. But Sean Marks made that deal to give up way too much for James Harden. And I actually think that's the bigger issue. I think if they would have kept those guys instead of shipping those guys off to play and left them to play with KD and Kyrie, that team was actually a better team than the James Harden we got. I understand the James Harden we thought we were getting, but those young guys that they traded away in those draft picks would have been better than the James Harden they got. So I think that's what they do. I think, sorry, to recap it, Marks, Nash gone. Because again, if Irving did go to Nash's house and say, hey, let me see Kobe's MVP, he's not wrong. But dude, you can't do that to your coach. One of you's got to go after that. For me. So yeah, well, I think they stay.
Let's eliminate some people first, Tone. And the only way we can eliminate these people is if Ben Simmons stays on the roster. Now, they're not going to trade Ben after everything that they gave up to get him. So if they keep Ben on the roster, that eliminates Miami, because this deal doesn't work without Bam. Okay, Bam. If Bam isn't in the deal, we have no deal. That's number one. That means that also when we pick up the telephone and we call up Bob Myers out in San Francisco. This deal, Andrew Wiggins can't be part of the deal because Ben Simmons is on the roster, and that CBA agreement that we have that affects that. So that doesn't work, right? Okay, so that means Cat is also out. So when we talk about Phoenix, that means Book is out. So there's a number of different guys that this isn't going to work for unless Brooklyn goes, okay, we're going to move on from Ben Simmons. And even if we move on from Ben Simmons, how can we bring this roster with what just transpired with KD and Irving, KD requesting to be traded and Irving opting into his deal and all of the trade talk about him? How can we bring these guys together into training camp in October? Tony, it'll be a zoo. And I think it's a recipe for disaster. Now, what can happen is maybe we can let this thing die down. How about we just don't say anything about it for a little while? But the problem with that is a lot of teams are trying to build their unit. And in the process of them building their unit, they want to see what's going to happen with KD. So we can't just not do anything. Because if we're going to trade for KD, you have to put a certain amount of guys or a certain kind of guy around KD. You can't just throw KD on a unit and it's just going to work. No, that's not going to happen. He is a superstar, and there's plenty of superstars, but you can't just throw guys on a unit, Tone, and it just works. No,
I feel like for all the real talk that I spit about KD, not hate, real talk that you don't like because you're a fan, not you, the people that hate it. I think KD's the easiest guy to throw in on a team. I think he actually does kind of like, you can plop him in. What team doesn't he fit on?
What team does he not fit on? Yeah. Well, I'm having a difficult time with him going to the Golden State Warriors. They got something going on out there.
No, but he clearly fits on that. If you drop him in there instead of Wiggins, that team's fine.
Wait, Jay, what are you talking about? Are you talking about just like how they're clearing space for something?
Yeah, because when I think about the unit that they have, I think that they're on their way to doing something. And
I know they are, but I'm saying he still fits. If you were to put him on that team, they still win.
Okay. Well, Tone, let's make no mistake about it. 28 a game is welcome to anywhere. It doesn't make a difference where it is. 28 a game is in Oklahoma City. 28 a game.
That's what I'm saying.
He Miami.
And like the person he is too, compared to like putting LeBron. Like LeBron's gonna come in and he's gonna like take the reins, but KD might be a little bit more like chill about it. I agree with you there.
If I'll say one last thing about Toronto, I don't know if you know my guy Coloco. their second round pick, who's going to be nice, by the way, grew up idolizing Kevin Durant. And he says, I'm not setting my number yet in Toronto until I find out whether KD's coming, because if I'm not taking the number, if he's coming, that's his number.
Right. Absolutely.
That's
So
sweet.
I'm having a difficult time with this unit being together come training camp, because this whole thing has just been nuts. And add that to the fact, Tone, that Kyrie Irving, the talk of Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers, Tone, with everything that has happened, with Anthony Davis missing half the season, with Russell Westbrook being as inconsistent as he was, and them not making the playoffs and everything that James had to do. Can you give me some legit logic on why James would want anything to do with Kyrie Irving after what he just saw over these last 3 years? Why would he want anything to do with him?
If I was LeBron, I wouldn't. But I don't know what's going on in his head. Maybe he looks at him like a little brother. And we had our spat. We went our separate ways. And now little bro needs help. Yo, come back. I'll help you. Because listen, I know that there's people for a long, long time that they're like, why are you helping that person out? I'm like, because I got to. And there was no rhyme or reason for it. Right. You're right. So there might be. Listen, for all the analysis and talk we have about, specifically, I'll talk about LeBron James. Guy seems to me like a good dude. Like 20 years in the league. How many controversies has he been in? How many baby mama dramas? How many domestic violence, nights out where he's drinking? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. The guy seems like a legit, good dude. Anyone who hates him for his political views or, personally, I think are morons, because there's nothing that shows he's a bad guy. You want to criticize his game? Cool. You want to criticize his decision about teams that he goes to? No problem. But outside of that, the guy doesn't have criticism. And that might be, with the exception of what he did to poor Delonte West after he broke up with his mom. Other than that, I still think that's a conspiracy that LeBron James set up. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Other than that, he's the kind of guy that would accept Kyrie back and be like, yeah, come on, let's figure this out. I think he is that kind of guy.
All right.
I wouldn't do it, but he probably would. Actually, you know what? Let's be honest, I probably would do it. I will tell you this though, Tony. We got a lot to talk about. This isn't a situation where, come on back. We got to sit down and if we get back together, we need to talk, and we need to talk seriously, because it's obvious that I need your help, maybe, but you need my help more than I need your help. So do you want me to help you? Are you going to let me help you? Is this going to be what it was before, where you're going to start to screw face me because, you're older now? So, I mean, there's a lot that needs to be hashed out here, Tone. A lot. Older isn't always wiser.
No, it is not.
It is.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. It's not always, but sometimes it is.
Well, and everyone in the chat's mentioning, if it was up to LeBron, would he rather have Russ or Kyrie by his side going into next season? I don't know. That's tough, but I'm going to take.
You want Kyrie's game, but you want Russ's reliability. Russ is coming to play, and he'll be there every night.
Right.
Kyrie.
And I'm having a difficult time with the logic that Russ is going to be this as bad as Russ was, as inconsistent as he was. I'm having a difficult time with the logic that he's going to be that again next season. Especially getting with these guys and now having a feel for what's going on. I'm not of the masses that's Russ is terrible, and no, I'm not that guy. I'm having a difficult time believing that he's going to be awful or inconsistent like that again. I think that he'll be better next season.
Yeah, I think his best days are done. But yes, I think he will be more consistent this upcoming season than he was last year. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, just fitting into the unit, it's all, at least they'll have some fluidity. They know each other a little bit, but they never got a chance to play together. So same in Brooklyn. Honestly, let's just keep the teams as is and give it one season and then come back next year and talk about it.
We've said this multiple times. On that Laker team, LeBron's the best player, but AD's the most important player. And you see the difference. When AD doesn't play, they don't make the playoffs or they lose in the first round. When AD plays, they win chips. Right? He is the most important player. LeBron is the best player. There is a difference. So, you know, I don't even think the other players matter as much, whether it's Russ, Kyrie, whatever. Is AD healthy? Is he going to play 70 games? Is he going to be there for the whole playoff run? You're good. Like, you're good.
If you can get 65 games out of Anthony Davis this season, I think that he's in the MVP conversation. If you could get 65 games out of him. Yes, I know that sounds nuts, Tone, but if you could get 65, maybe 70 games out of him, I think the Lakers are much better. I think that they're higher in the Western Conference, and we're definitely having a different conversation, because I know that you think this is nuts, Tone, but it wasn't but 2 years ago that we were having a serious conversation about Anthony Davis and Giannis, and it was a thing. It was a real thing. Now, clearly, Giannis has surpassed him since then, but it wasn't that long ago that we were having that conversation. So if Anthony Davis were to come into camp and he's ready to go and he can hold himself together, and he can give you 65, because remember, Tone, he was 23-11 last year, and that was a down season. And he's only 28? It's not like he's 34 years old and he's on the other side of it.
Yeah, but you know me. Show me.
Absolutely. That's the thing.
There was a time we were talking about Bynum being one of the best centers ever. Dwight Howard being one of the best centers ever.
Right.
You know what happens after that. So
right. So if he can hold up and he could give me 65, I think I've always felt like Anthony Davis is the top 5 player when he's healthy. Offensively and defensively, I think he's one of the best players in the game. No question about that. Arguably top 5, definitely top 10. And if he could stay healthy, we're having a different conversation about him, no doubt.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time, Haley. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Well, last thing before we end, and we can go into this more on Thursday, and maybe we'll have some new announcements from all this going on. But I wanted to read off the top 10 seeds from the West and from the East this season. And keep in mind, who do you see? Pick 2 teams, one that you see definitely dropping and one that you see rising up, based on some of the new pickups and everything like that. So in the West, we had Phoenix, then Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Utah, Denver, Minnesota, New Orleans, Clippers, and Spurs. And then, so we'll start in the West. What's one team you see, Fluent, that you think's gonna rise up on that list, and one that will fall?
Pelicans, fly Pelican. Zion's not going anywhere. He looks healthy. He looks like he's gonna play. That team should get significantly better when you add him to a team that was surprisingly good last year. I think that's the team that's gonna have a big jump.
100%.
And then falling.
Chill.
Sorry.
Chill's risers. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who do you see rising?
I see Denver being better next season.
Really?
I see Denver being a lot better, but the one team that I see Minnesota being a lot better next season. I think Minnesota's a top 5 seed next season.
You like the Rudy trade? You think that's gonna level them up?
I love that trade, and the reason why I love that trade is because what Rudy's gonna do is he's gonna alleviate the defensive. He's gonna alleviate all the dirty work that Cat had to do, and his responsibility is gonna lessen. So I think Minnesota's gonna be a lot better next season.
Yeah. Rudy's gonna do what AD's been crying for his whole career, a legit 5 so that he can play the 4. So Cat's now gonna play the 4.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't go crazy shooting threes, like we know we can hit him, but like as long as he doesn't, because we don't want him to fall too in love with it. That's a $400 million front court. They better be good.
By the way, Tone, just so we know, so we clear, Cat played the 4 at Kentucky. That was his spot.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It moves him to where he should be.
Yeah.
He's comfortable.
Yeah. Yes, he played the 4 in college. That was his game, as a matter of fact.
It'll be interesting to see how his style of play changes as well. Like, will he play differently? I think we're going to see a different Cat next season, and it's going to be a really exciting version for sure. Okay, and then who's your falling team? What team do you think is just going to?
I think San Antonio's engine is on fire, and that team goes from the middle of the play, and I think they go to the bottom of. I think they're Houston next year. I think they are Oklahoma City. I think they are going to be trash.
Yeah, they got nothing over there right now. And then who you think in the West?
The people of Utah are going to want to move the Jazz back to New Orleans. That's how bad they're going to be. They'd be like, you know what? We don't like jazz music here. Which is actually funny that a team in Utah is called the Jazz, but yeah, I think Utah.
Jeanie said Utah's going to be a ghost town, which is definitely facts.
Well, hold on, Jay, isn't Utah already a ghost town?
Well, Salt Lake City has prospered, but I mean, I went to school there 30 years ago. I went to school in Utah 30 years ago, and it wasn't nearly as much going on today as it was. It wasn't nearly as much going on there 30 years ago than it is today. It wasn't a lot going on. No. So
for anybody that goes to Utah, just as an FYI, I stopped there and some idiot convinced me to go out for dinner, and we had sushi. Don't have sushi in Utah, just FYI.
Yeah.
Noted.
I put it this way, I had a flu game the next game.
Oh.
I kind of dated myself. I meant to say 25 years ago. That's right.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that long ago.
5 years ago.
Not 30 years.
Clear
it wasn't that long. I'm sorry. I apologize. It wasn't that long. Not that old.
Okay. And then in the East, we'll do it real quick. I'll read them off. Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Toronto, Chicago, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Cleveland, and then the Hornets at 10. So, Chill, you start. Who do you see rising out of that list? Or do you see it staying the same?
I don't see much of a difference. I do think that Atlanta's going to be better this season. I think that they could possibly get into that 6th spot. But the one team that I think is going to be a lot better is Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to be a top 5 seed next year. I think that they have their core with Garland and Evan Mobley. I think that they have their core. I think they got their rim protector. I think they got their vet in Kevin Love. And I think that these guys are on their way to doing something special. I like the way Cleveland is building that thing. I think that they're going to be much better this season than they were. As long as they can stay healthy, I think that they're going to be a top 5, maybe even a top 4 seed next season.
Okay.
I would be remiss if I didn't go back to the West and say, because you didn't name them in the top 10, the 11th seed, the Los Angeles Lakers, are going to be the one that have the biggest jump. But
I think they're going to be better too.
Let's move to in the East. The Toronto Raptors, who will have back-to-back Rookies of the Year, I think are gonna move up. I know they were a 5th seed, but they're going to be a top 4 seed next year. They Scotty Barnes, Siakam now coming off his first All NBA performance. Like, that's a good. I really don't like Fred VanVleet running that team, but other than that, they are a good collection of. Look, Otto Porter, it's an underrated signing because they have 8 guys that can defend, and what they don't have is anyone who can shoot. So if Otto Porter's healthy, he shoots. If Pascal gets a little bit better, VanVleet can get hot. Gary Trent Jr. is a good shooter. Like, they actually have a team that you don't want to play because people don't like teams that play defense. And they've got a lot of defense coming at you. So I think for a regular season, look, they're not going to go to the championship, but they are a team that can win a lot of games in the regular season. And people forget during, the Warriors and like kind of the Cleveland, Miami runs to the finals every year, the team that had the best record in the NBA, like collectively for that decade, I think it was the Warriors one. It was the Raptors too. So they'll win a lot of regular season games. So I think that's why I think they'll take a jump again next year.
I like it. And then who do you think might slip?
I don't think the Miami Heat go to the top are at the top of the East next year. I don't. As good as they're going to be, I don't think that they're going to be at the top of the East. I think that they could slide to maybe 4 because I think that there's going to be some teams in the East that are going to get a lot better. Like I said, Milwaukee's going to be back. Philly's going to be back. Boston's going to be back. And I don't know if the Miami Heat, if they're going to be at the top of the East next year. But I do think that they're going to be a top 5 team. I do believe that. But the one team that I think about more than anyone, it's Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to be whacked on. I think this Kevin Durant and I think
they were the 9 seed anyways, so they don't have far to fall.
Right.
They're going all the way down.
I'm gonna stick with Miami.
Yeah, I think the surprising team. I'm going to give you 2. The surprising team that most people don't think are going to fall, but I don't know why. I think the Bulls. I think the Bulls might be looking like, I don't want to say up at the playoffs. I think they'll be in the play-in, but I don't think they're going to be a top 8 seed. I feel there's something happening there. I don't know if it's Levine getting paid, if it's all the talk that he was going to leave and then he ends up staying. Is DeMar going to be able to do what he did last year, which was incredible? I don't
Right.
know. So I think the Bulls are going to have a fall. And I don't know why. It's just this team is gnawing at me. I'm really worried about the Philadelphia 76ers.
And you know why? Because of James Harden. That's it. There's no other reason, Tone. That's it. If James Harden wasn't on that crew, you'd have a. I know for a fact, Tone. I know you. I've been around you long enough. And that one thing that's knowing that you is James Harden, because you know him. You know who he is. That's why it's bothering you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like Embiid's, just he's bound to get hurt. And then do I trust that team in Harden's hands? Like if I was a Philly fan right now, I'd be real nervous.
That's it, man. That's it. I don't have a problem with James Harden because I know who James Harden is in the regular season. And I know that in the regular season, he's going to be awesome. And they're going to look really good.
Just remember, he'll be awesome like after the midway point because he's going to come in after having a summer of Philly cheesesteaks.
Well, here's the thing, Tone, because he's actually been getting himself in shape, which is burning me because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to clean myself up now because I'm getting older and everybody else has been saying how they've been questioning my conditioning. That's super corny to me.
Yeah, I've been a horrible person for 50 years, and now that I need somebody. Let me clean myself up.
That's so.
But he's already burned all his bridges at this point. Like it's a little too late.
Give me a break with this guy. So I know that he's gonna be. I know he's gonna be super sharp.
That cheese dripping down that beard.
You think? Yeah. I'm excited to see if Luka comes back. Like in. A little bit different. Like
have you seen him in the World Championships, in the World Qualifiers? Have you seen him?
Luka looks trim.
Luka's got some slice to him.
I think I saw a picture.
Yeah.
He's cleaned up and shaved a little bit.
Yeah, Luka's got some slice to him. He looked like he dropped some weight. Luka's looking good.
Luka's he's just losing his baby fat, guys. Like he's 12 years old. Come on.
That's
let's be honest.
He's becoming I guess more what's the word?
A professional.
Yeah. That's the word.
But mature. He's maturing. That's
Luka, hold on, the Mavs got a real center now?
Yes, they do. They got a legit 5-man.
Who, JaVale?
No, JaVale's the backup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Who's their center?
JaVale backup. They just signed. Let's see. Why am I drawing a blank here?
Is he known?
Yes.
Do we know him?
JaVale's the starter.
They got Christian Wood. They signed JaVale. Oh, they got somebody else at the 5.
Who else did they get?
Why am I drawing a blank here?
Anybody know? Or everyone's saying Wood. Everyone's saying Wood's going to be the 5. I thought he was a 4, so okay, maybe.
Christian Wood.
Clever.
All right, you guys. Well, thanks for joining us today, chat. Make sure to get those likes up before we shut off. But we'll definitely be back on Thursday at 6 Pacific time.
9 p.m. Eastern. The world revolves on the East.
I know. I'm learning that.
Everybody, the population, the majority of the population live on the East Coast, so.
Really?
Yes, they do. Why do you think the NBA is such a big deal, Tone, when the Eastern Conference is great? Why do you think viewership is up even more when the Eastern Conference is good? So when the Knicks and when the Celtics, the majority of people in the country.
The last time the Knicks were good.
The last time the Knicks were good, they was good in 2012.
1998.
2013. I mean, they did win a playoff series, but.
Ooh. Wasn't it against the Raptors?
Good, not great.
Yeah, there's a difference between good and great.
Yeah, there you go. It was 1998 was the last time they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But yeah, you guys have any closing thoughts? Anything that we should look forward to or any ideas for Thursday?
We're good. We're good.
You should remember that this is Sparta. That's about it.
This is Sparta. Okay. So, but until then, take it light.
It's the only thing we understand. I'ma stand till on Jersey in the stands. I'ma hit you on a slide. I don't never